The word hit me like a verdict. Become. Not a command. Emerging. The floor vibrated, not like a tremor, but like the whole room was breathing with me. Or with us. The creature opened its mouth, and strands of liquid shadow dripped onto my neck, burning like frozen acid. I tried to turn away, but my muscles didn't respond. It felt like my body had been poured into a mold that wasn't shaped for a human. Its smile widened, slow, satisfied, because the word had already done its work. A cold wave spread through my chest, not outside, but inside, like black ink finding its way through my heart, ribs, throat. And then I felt two breaths in one body. Mine and his. The creature pressed its forehead to mine. The air between us turned to vapor from the sudden drop in temperature. It whispered, in my voice, "Good. Now let me in." My vision blurred at the edges. Dark spots bloomed like burned film. It pushed its face closer, cold skin against mine, nose to nose, empty eyes staring into me as if reading my thoughts or overriding them. And then something inside me pushed back, a force that wasn't mine, old, cold, patient. But what terrified me wasn't the presence, it was the memory, the recording. It can't imitate what it can't hear. The creature only completed the copy because it listened to everything I said. It fed on my tremor, my breathing, my fear. The merging was working because it was hearing all of it now, completing the update, refining the replica. I had to break the loop. I needed silence. A silence so absolute it froze its mimicry. I held my breath. It felt pathetic, but the effect was immediate. The creature froze. Its expression cracked, like a mask splitting off the face beneath. It tilted its head, confused by the sudden void. Silence disturbed it. The absence of sound unbalanced it. It grabbed my jaw, trying to pry my mouth open. My teeth locked tight. It roared, but the roar had no echo, because it had nothing to imitate.
And for one breathless second, the thing hesitated. The answering machine's charred speaker let out a burst of static, so loud it felt like needles in my ears as the final scrap of the message from the future played. My own voice, weak, dying. Hold your breath. The creature heard that, but it didn't hear me. It couldn't tell which voice was the real one. It lost the anchor. The shape of the monster began to unravel. First, its hands, melting into black streams that lifted into the air like smoke being sucked upward. Then its arms, then its face, my face, peeling away in strips. It tried to hold on to my throat, but its fingers dissolved on contact. It tried to mimic my last sound, but I didn't give it one. And its final sentence slipped out in a voice that wasn't human anymore. Not quiet enough. Then it vanished. No explosion, no scream. Just gone. A candle blown out. The room stilled. And only when my lungs burned did I finally exhale. The answering machine, lying on the floor, clicked on by itself. One last message. My voice, from tomorrow. Broken, fading, barely breathing. If you hear this, you survived. Static swallowed part of it, then almost too soft to catch. But it learned from this attempt. Next time, it won't need to hear you. The line died, and the silence in the room felt like something listening.
The wind outside slammed against the windows again, harder this time, as if something enormous was dragging its weight along the outer walls. The lights flickered, once, twice, before stabilizing into a weak amber glow. Evan swallowed hard, keeping his eyes locked on the answering machine, even though every instinct screamed for him to look away. The timestamp on the final message still blinked. Tomorrow, 11:58 p.m. 32 hours ahead. 32 hours until something, whatever it was, would happen. But what terrified him wasn't the future date. It was the voice. Because even though the message was warped with static, layered under unnatural distortion, and breaths that didn't sound human, the last word it spoke was unmistakable. His name. The voice didn't belong to a stranger. It belonged to him. Evan felt the cold bloom across his chest as if something invisible pressed its weight down on him. He replayed the message again, just the ending, just enough to hear it. Don't let them in, Evan. A rasping gasp, a violent crash, and then silence. He stepped back, nearly tripping over the edge of the coffee table. His future self had left a message, a warning. But who was he telling Evan not to let in? Or what? The machine clicked loudly, and Evan flinched. A new red light blinked. A new message. No timestamp, no date. Just message 07. But he hadn't pressed anything. The machine had activated on its own. He froze as the tape word, slow and strained, like it was dragging itself through something thick. Then, after several seconds, a faint sound emerged, too quiet to understand at first, a kind of whisper layered under an electrical hum. Evan leaned in. The whisper grew louder. It wasn't a voice. It was breathing. Not human breathing, too fast, too wet, too deep, as if someone were inhaling through a throat filled with liquid. Each inhale crackled, sloshed, and dragged. Then, beneath it, a faint tapping sound began. Slow, rhythmic. Tap. 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 His breath stilled. It sounded like fingernails tapping at glass. The sound grew louder. Tap. 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 Evan turned toward the window living room. The tapping synced perfectly, perfectly timed, perfectly deliberate. His pulse hammered. "No," he whispered, but the answering machine played on. The breathing became a low snarl. The tapping became pounding. Tap, 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 tap. And then a voice, so distorted it seemed to scrape against the tape itself. "I found you." Evan's entire body locked. The pounding at the window stopped instantly. Outside, the wind howled again. Only this time, it sounded wrong. Not like wind, more like a chorus of faint voices carried through the air, dozens of them whispering in unison. His phone buzzed suddenly in his pocket, and he nearly screamed. He fumbled it out with trembling fingers. A text message. Unknown number. No words. Just a photo. Evan opened it, and his blood ran cold. The picture showed his house, right now, from outside the window. Lights on, curtains drawn, his silhouette clearly visible. Another text arrived. "Don't answer the door." Before he could react, the answering machine clicked again. Message 08. The tape word. Then a voice, his voice from tomorrow, whispered, "Evan, it's already inside."
The room went silent. Not quiet, silent. As if the air itself had been removed. Slowly, painfully, Evan turned his head. Behind him, under the hallway entrance, something moved. Not fast, not slow. A shape. Tall, bent, jointed wrong. Skin the color of spoiled milk stretched over something too sharp, too thin to be human. Its head tilted in a twitching insect-like motion. Evan's breath stuttered. The creature's hand, long, pale fingers tipped with cracked black nails, dragged across the floorboards, leaving splinters in its wake. And then, the answering machine played the final seconds of the future message again without being touched. Don't let them in. The creature's head snapped to face him. A voice echoing from nowhere and everywhere finished the sentence in perfect harmony with the recording. But you already did.
The creature's face, or what should have been its face, hung in a stretched mask of skin, smooth where eyes should be, hollow where a mouth might have formed. No features, no expression. Just a pale, rippling surface, as if something beneath were pushing against it, trying to get out. Evan stumbled backward, legs trembling as the creature dragged itself another inch forward. A wet, sticky sound followed its movements, like muscles tearing and reattaching with every shift. The answering machine crackled again. Another message was forming, uncommanded. Evan didn't dare look away from the creature, but he heard the tape start spinning, faster this time, as if it were being forced. The creature paused mid-crawl. Its head twitched, once, twice, jerkier than anything alive. It turned toward the sound of the answering machine, as if recognizing it, as if called by it. No, 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 Evan whispered, inching backward. The message clicked. Then the tape stopped. Silence. That was worse than the voices. Much worse. Because whatever was on that tape, the creature was waiting for it. Evan finally managed to take a breath, but at that exact second, the answering machine played the message all at once, skipping static, skipping distortion, skipping everything. Just 5 words. 5 words in his own voice, but not from tomorrow, from right now. It feeds on your fear. Evan froze. The creature reacted instantly. Its faceless head snapped toward him. Its limbs bent backward like broken sticks resetting themselves. And then, it stood, fully, nearly scraping the ceiling. A hollow vibration filled the room, like the sound of 100 people breathing in synchrony. The creature stretched its head toward him, its skin rippling as if something underneath were crawling or swimming. Evan choked on a breath and stumbled back into the coffee table, knocking over a glass that shattered across the floor. The creature inhaled sharply. A shudder passed through its entire body, as if it liked that. As if the sound of his fear made it stronger. No, 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 Evan whispered. Stay back. The creature took a single step, but that step covered half the living room. The floorboards groaned under its weight. Its long, bony fingers reached toward him, nails scraping deep grooves into the wood. Evan ran. He sprinted into the hallway, nearly slipping on the hardwood as he bolted toward the kitchen. His heart slammed against his ribs. Behind him, click. The answering machine recorded. Again. Automatically. But this time, it wasn't a future message. It was recording right now. Evan reached the kitchen, grabbed the nearest thing he could find, a metal pan, and pressed his back against the counter, gasping. He needed a weapon. He needed a sound. A terrible one. A chorus of voices echoed from the living room, not the creature's, not his, something in between, like 100 distorted versions of his own screams layered together into one impossible sound. Then, boom, A violent crash shook the house. Pictures fell from the walls. The lights flickered completely out. Evan stood frozen in the dark, gripping the pan until his knuckles whitened. And then, a new sound. Closer. Much closer. The creaking groan of wood splitting apart as the creature crawled through the hallway toward him. Even without light, he could sense it, smell it, feel it radiating cold so intense it stung like frostbite. Evan held the pan tighter and backed toward the back door. He reached for the deadbolt. Click. Blocked. It shouldn't have been. He unlocked it earlier. He grabbed harder, shaking the door, but it wouldn't budge, like someone on the other side was holding it shut. His breath hitched. Someone or something.
Suddenly, the landline phone on the kitchen wall rang. One sharp, piercing ring. Evan jumped and nearly dropped the pan. The creature's steps stopped immediately. Silence. Then, the phone rang again. Longer this time. More insistent. Evan glanced over his shoulder, breathing irregularly. The phone rang a third time, and then stopped. Halfway through the ring, a voice emerged from the speaker on the base of the phone. "Evan, answer it." His stomach twisted, because that voice, that one, wasn't distorted. It wasn't from the future. It wasn't from the creature. It was his father's voice. But his father died 3 years ago. The receiver phone lifted itself off the hook, slowly, smoothly. No hands holding it, just floating in the air. The creature's massive shadow stretched across the hallway as it turned toward the kitchen doorway. The receiver floated closer to him. "Pick it up," his father's voice said again. "Please." Evan trembled. He reached out, and the moment his fingers touched the phone, the kitchen lights blasted on in a blinding white flash. The creature was right in front of him, towering, hulking, skin peeling in strips as something underneath pushed outward, its faceless head inches from his own. Evan couldn't scream, couldn't move. The phone pressed itself against his ear. Static, whispers. Then, "If you can hear this, don't trust the next message." Evan's blood froze. It wasn't his father. It wasn't anyone from the past. It was Evan from the future again. Farther in the future, older, worn, terrified. "It lies, Evan. It lies to you. The line went dead. Immediately, the creature's entire body stiffened. It turned its head, slowly, unnaturally, as if it were listening to something he couldn't hear. The phone hissed. Something else came through the line. A second voice, not human, not even close. The voice said one sentence with perfect, impossible clarity. "Don't listen to him." Then, the creature lunged.
The creature lunged. Not like an animal, not like a human, but like something that skipped the space between movements, appearing suddenly inches from Evan's face, as though reality had forgotten to animate the frames in between. He barely dodged. Its elongated arm carved through the air, slicing across the refrigerator door and peeling it open like it was made of thin foil. The metal squealed, folding outward in jagged strips. Evan fell sideways, crashing into the counter and dropping the phone. The receiver clattered across the tiles but didn't disconnect. The lines still open, hissing softly, like someone whispering from inside a storm. The creature turned its faceless head toward him again. No features, yet somehow Evan felt it staring.
It moved wrong, its limbs folding and unfolding like a puppet made from broken bones. Its shoulders cracked loudly as it shifted its weight, preparing to strike again. Evan scrambled backward on hands and heels, kicking at drawers, cabinets, anything he could get between them. His fingers brushed against something, a kitchen knife. He grabbed it and swung blindly. The blade connected with the creature's arm and sunk in only an inch. A wet, sucking sound erupted as the skin around the knife puckered and tightened like something inside was pulling it inward. The creature didn't react to the wound, didn't flinch, didn't bleed. But it did tilt its head, as though curious. Evan ripped the knife free, stumbling to his feet. The creature's torso heaved, its ribs shifting out of sync like they were breathing independently. Then the house lights flickered, humming with electrical interference. The answering machine clicked again. A message began to record. Evan froze. The creature froze. Both reacted to the sound at the same time. Something about that machine, it controlled the creature or summoned it or directed it, he didn't know. But the creature turned toward the sound, fully abandoning Evan, its spindly legs twisting as it pivoted down the hallway, each step shaking the floorboards. Evan used the moment to bolt toward the garage door, slamming into its shoulder first before fumbling the lock open. Behind him, the answering machine began playing the message it had just recorded. But the voice coming out wasn't human. It wasn't his. It wasn't the creature's. It was a layered chorus, like hundreds of voices speaking at once, overlapping with digital distortion and reversed speech. Evan heard only one clear phrase. It sees through sound. He froze mid-step. The garage door creaked as he opened it. The creature stopped moving. Its head jerked toward him instantly. Evan understood too late. The sound, the door, he had alerted it. The creature crouched low, its spine cracked, its joints reset, its limbs elongated. Evan gasped, and it sprinted. A horrifying insect-like gallop, its hands slapping the walls, its feet barely touching the ground. It moved like a body possessed by something that never studied how humans walk. Evan flung himself into the garage door, slamming the door behind him just as the creature collided with it. Boom! The impact dented the wood, splintering it. A long crack shot through the center panel. Dust rained from the ceiling. Evan stumbled backward, heart pounding loud enough he feared the creature could hear it. He turned toward the garage door opener. Dead. No power. He grabbed the emergency release cord, yanking it. The creature hit the door again. Boom! The hinges screeched. Evan heaved the garage door upward. It lifted halfway before jamming. Come on! Come on!
He threw his weight against it, forcing it up another foot. Cold night air rushed in. Outside, quiet, empty, dark. He squeezed beneath the door, just as the creature shoved its arm through the cracked kitchen door behind him. Its fingers scraped the concrete, reaching. Evan rolled out into the driveway. He turned to run, but froze. There was someone standing at the end of his driveway. A silhouette. Still. Silent. Facing him. Not the creature. A person. A man. Tall. Wearing a long coat. Hands at his sides. Head slightly bowed, as though listening to something only he could hear.
Hey!
Evan shouted without thinking. "Run! There's something!" The man lifted his head. Evan's voice died. The stranger's eyes reflected the porch light like an animal's. Silver. Empty. Cold. And then, Evan's landline phone rang. Not from inside the house. Not from the kitchen. Not from the countertop. It rang from the stranger's coat pocket. One sharp metallic ring. The creature inside the house went eerily silent. The man reached into his coat, pulled out Evan's cordless phone. Same model. Same scratches. Same cracked battery compartment. He lifted it to his ear and spoke in Evan's voice. "Don't run." Evan stepped back. The man took one slow step forward. Evan turned to bolt down the street, but the phone in the stranger's hand began broadcasting something, a message from the answering machine. Not static, not future warnings. A scream. Evan's scream. Recorded. Predicted. Played before it happened. The stranger raised the phone, letting the message play louder. Evan heard himself crying out, "It's behind you! Run! Run!" He stopped in the middle of the street, turned around, slowly, and saw nothing. Just darkness. Just wind. Just a shadow stretching across the ground behind him. Growing. Rising. The creature was climbing the outside of the house, its limbs spidering across the siding, its faceless head peeling open slightly as if the skin were stretching to form a mouth. The stranger whispered into the phone, "You're on schedule." Then took another step toward him, and another. And the creature descended from the roof, directly behind him. He didn't know which one to run from. He didn't know which one was worse. He didn't know which one had called him first.
The lights in the hallway flickered as I pushed deeper into the old community center, the place where every time-fractured voicemail had pointed me. The answering machine's latest message still echoed in my skull. "You're almost here. Don't run. If you run, you make it worse." My pulse throbbed in my neck as I stepped past the peeling blue paint and the sagging notice board of events long dead. Dust hung in the air like the room was holding its breath. Everything in the building had that same feeling, like time had stopped mid-exhale. And the answering machine in my backpack vibrated again. Not a ring, not a beep, just vibration, like something alive trying to shake itself awake. I reached inside, and the moment my fingers brushed the cold plastic, a sound tore through the hall. My own voice screaming, raw, panicked, unmistakable. Not from the machine, not from ahead or behind me. It was the scream of a version of me I hadn't met yet, cutting through the hall like a blade. My legs moved without my brain's permission, stumbling toward the echo. My flashlight jittered across the walls, catching glimpses of old graffiti, torn flyers, and in one corner, a shadow of me. My silhouette stretched impossibly long, turning the corner before I did. I froze. Shadows don't move first. The answering machine clicked. A new message autoplayed. "Don't look at him. Not yet. You haven't caught up." My stomach dropped. I knew that voice. It was older,
rougher, exhausted. It was me, several years from now. The answering machine hissed again, and static bled into a new phrase. "He's getting closer. Whatever you do, don't let him speak." A sharp, wet dragging sound scraped against the floor behind me. My breath hitched. The shadow version of me, or something pretending to be, was only a few feet away. I moved. Fast. My boots clapped the cracked tile as I sprinted toward the double doors at the far end of the hall. A heavy thump slammed the floor behind me, followed by another, faster, growing louder. My lungs burned, but I didn't dare look back. If I looked, I thought I'd see a mouth shaped exactly like mine, opening to tell me something I was never meant to hear. I shoved the doors open and burst into a large gymnasium. Moonlight spilled through high windows, casting long square patches across the floor. In the center of the gym was a table, just a single folding table. On it sat a reel-to-reel tape deck, big, industrial, government-looking, and it was running. Tape spooled silently, though no sound played from the speakers. I approached slowly, each breath shaking my ribs. The tape stopped, and a voice crackled through the speaker. "Sit down. This is the only way to fix it." My knees nearly buckled. Because this wasn't future me. It wasn't the shadow. It wasn't the dying, glitching echoes from tomorrow's timeline. It was my mother. A chill washed over me that felt like ice water running through my veins. She died 11 years ago. "No," I whispered. "No, you're not real." The speakers answered immediately. "I'm real enough, sweetheart. Sit." My throat felt sandpaper dry as I lowered myself into the chair across from the tape deck. The tape rewound itself, impossibly fast, like invisible hands manipulated it. Then it played again. My mother's voice softened. "There's something you need to know. Something I never told you." My heart hammered in my chest. I leaned forward, barely breathing. But before the tape could finish the sentence, before her voice could reveal anything, a hand settled on my shoulder. My blood turned to stone. The shadow version of me leaned in behind my ear. Its breath was cold, wrong, like air from a sealed tomb. And in my exact voice, perfectly matching, my tone, timbre, and cadence, it whispered, "Don't listen." I jerked forward, stumbling away from it, but the thing didn't follow. It just stood there, watching me with a face that wasn't a face, a blurred smear of features, like reality hadn't finished loading. The tape clicked again. My mother's voice returned. "Sweetheart, you need to choose. Listen to him or listen to me. But once you choose, you can't go back." My head swam. My shadow self raised its hand, pointing to the exit. The tape deck clicked twice, like a heartbeat, and my mother's voice trembled. "Please, don't walk away again." Both voices pulled me in opposite directions. Both versions of tomorrow wanted something, and whichever one I obeyed, that would decide what message the answering machine would play next, what final words it would record. I swallowed hard and made my choice.
I stepped toward the tape deck, not because I trusted it, not because I believed the voice on the other end was really my mother, but because the shadow version of me, that blurred, unfinished imitation, radiated something far worse. Something final. Something hungry. As I moved toward the table, the shadow stayed perfectly still, as though frozen mid-command. Its body shuddered slightly, like a corrupted video frame trying to stabilize. The tape clicked, rewound, and began again, gently. "Okay, sweetheart. You chose to listen. That means you're ready." "Ready for what?" I asked, barely hearing my own voice. Static washed over the speakers. The tape hissed, warped, then steadied. "Ready to understand what you've been hearing." I forced myself to breathe. The tape deck hummed softly, like someone inhaling across dimensions. "The messages from tomorrow, they're not predictions." My mouth went dry. The shadow twitched behind me, jerking its head like a broken animatronic. The voice continued. "They're echoes." Echoes. The word landed like a stone dropped into black water. "Echoes of what?" I whispered. The tape stuttered, glitched, then, "Echoes of you dying." The gym seemed to tilt sideways. My legs nearly gave out. The shadow version of me took a single step forward, a silent, wet footfall that made my skin crawl. I turned toward it instinctively, but the moment my eyes met its blurred face, my vision throbbed with pressure, like my skull was being squeezed from the inside. I stumbled back and turned away, gasping. The tape crackled again. "Don't look at him directly. He's not finished becoming you yet." My stomach twisted. The shadow froze again, as if obeying some unseen rule. The tape continued, voice trembling. "The answering machine doesn't show fate. It shows aftermath." That doesn't make sense," I murmured. "Not aftermath of a timeline, aftermath of a choice." The lights flickered overhead. One burst entirely, raining sparks. The shadow flinched, its body flickering like bad reception, and a horrible thought struck me. The flicker made it weaker. The tape deck hummed louder, almost like approval. "Every message you've heard, every scream, every warning, they come from versions of you who made the wrong choice." I rubbed my temples, mind spinning. "And the shadow?" The tape answered instantly. "That's the version of you closest to taking your place."
My blood iced over. "He only needs one thing," the voice whispered. "He needs you to finish a sentence." A cold wave passed over me, and I realized every time the shadow had come close, its mouth had been opening. It wasn't trying to speak to me. It was trying to make me speak back, to complete a sentence, to finish what he started. The answering machine in my backpack vibrated violently, rattling against the floor. A new message began autoplaying without my touch. "Don't answer him! Don't answer him! Don't—" The message cut off with a burst of screeching static. Then, "He's going to try now." My heart stopped. The shadow moved, slow at first, then faster, limbs jerking like marionette strings snapping tight. I stumbled back toward the bleachers as the thing approached, its steps out of sync with its body, like time bent differently around it. It stopped inches from me, its breath cold and hollow. Its voice, my voice, gurgled up from its chest, glitching like corrupted audio. It leaned close. Its face stabilized for a moment. Fully me, perfectly me. Then it whispered, "Finish this." My jaw locked. I felt the words press against my throat, like my own vocal cords were trying to betray me. The tape deck screamed through its speakers. "Don't speak! Don't!" The shadow lunged. Its hand, my hand, clamped around my throat. Darkness crept into my vision. I could hear the answering machine spitting out messages rapid fire, everyone a future version of me screaming, begging, dying. The shadow tightened its grip, and in that final half second before I blacked out, the emergency lights flicked on, bright red, and the shadow recoiled, shrieking soundlessly, its body unraveling into ribbons of static. I collapsed to the floor, gasping. The tape deck shuddered violently. Sparks danced around it. That same voice, my mother's voice, forced out one last line. "You can still stop him, but only if you listen to the last message." The reel spun forward, stopped, clicked. I swallowed hard and leaned in. The final message began.
The tape hissed. Not the soft, dusty hiss of old plastic, but something sharp, like steam escaping a cracked pipe. I sat upright despite my shaking legs. The gym felt colder, the air tighter, like reality itself was bracing. A voice emerged. Not my mother's, not mine, not human. It sounded layered, like dozens of voices speaking through a single throat. "This is the last message." The lights vibrated overhead, buzzing with a nervous frequency. "You have heard the warnings." Static surged. "You have seen what hunts you." The answering machine in my backpack crackled, syncing itself to the tape deck's frequency until both devices hummed in unison, an awful mechanical harmony. "Now you must learn why." My stomach twisted into knots. The tape continued. "Every time you replay a message, he becomes clearer." I froze. "Every time you listen, you shape him." A chill climbed my spine. That meant I wasn't just being haunted. I was building him, piece by piece. The shadow stood across the gym, its outline wavering like heat rising off asphalt. It didn't advance, not yet, but I could feel it waiting, absorbing every sound, every second of audio shaping its existence. "Why me?" I whispered. The tape answered instantly. "Because you kept the machine." I blinked. "That's it?" The voices layered again, rising like a choir of static. "You listened. You believed. You made a connection." The tape rewound itself half a second, then replayed its last 3 words in a warped echo. "Meet a connection. Made a connection. Made." The sound distorted violently, and the gym lights shut off for a full heartbeat. Darkness swallowed everything. I couldn't see the bleachers, the exit, the tape deck. Only a faint silhouette in the center of the gym. The shadow. Waiting. Breathing. When the lights flicked back on, the tape continued, as if nothing had happened. "A connection is a doorway." My lungs stopped working. The tape sputtered, glitching as though the message didn't want to be said. "And the doorway only needs one other thing." I swallowed hard. "What?" Nothing. Just the low whir of the tape, rolling, resisting. Then, agreement. The shadow's fused imitation face twisted into something that wasn't a smile, but understood the idea of one. My heart hammered. Agreement. A shared sentence. Finishing his words? Completing the connection? If I spoke with him, if I responded, if I finished anything he said, he wouldn't just replace me. He would be me. The tape wavered.
You are almost you already. The emergency lights flickered. The shadow stepped forward. One step, another. Its shape sharpened with each movement, losing its blur, gaining definition. Its eyes began forming. Not hollow darkness, but actual reflections. My reflections. The tape stuttered, warped, then screamed through the speaker. "Run!" The command jolted my body before my brain could process it. I sprinted across the gym toward the exit doors, but the shadow moved faster. As I reached the double doors, my hand, slammed flat against the metal beside my head, stopping me cold. I turned, and its face was inches from mine, complete now, perfect, except for the smile. That wasn't mine.
Its mouth opened, glitching at the edges, and spoke in my exact voice. "Finish this." My throat locked again, pushed from the inside by invisible fingers trying to force out a response. I slapped my hand over my mouth. The shadow leaned close. Its next words slid out of its throat like a knife dragged across bone. "And I'll let you breathe." My body wanted to answer, to survive, to obey, to finish the sentence. But the tape deck across the gym shrieked, "Do not!" The shadow snapped its head toward the tape, snarling in silent fury. In that single moment of distraction, I shoved myself sideways and bolted down the hallway, stumbling past lockers and bulletin boards. The answering machine vibrated violently in my backpack. A new message auto-played, whispering, "He's behind you." I didn't turn. The lights' hallways burst one by one behind me. Pop, pop, pop. Fast. Getting closer. The answering machine buzzed again, whispering, "He can't take you if you stay silent." Then, "But he can still catch you." A cold wind hit my back. No, not wind. His breath. I veered into the stairwell and slammed the door behind me. The metal shook violently as something heavy crashed into it. I stumbled down the steps, nearly falling. The answering machine clicked again. A new message auto-played, whispering, "Don't hide. Doors won't stop him. Only distance. Only noise." Noise? Why noise? The tape deck answered from inside my head. "He was born in silence, so noise fractures him." I didn't have a weapon, but I had something. I grabbed the answering machine from my backpack, turned its volume to maximum, and hit play all. A wall of overlapping screams, warnings, distortions, and future death static blasted through the stairwell. The lights shook. The banister vibrated. The door at the top of the stairs rattled, then burst open. But the shadow stumbled, its edges shredded like newspaper caught in a hurricane. It shrieked silently as the audio tore through its shape. But it didn't fall. It didn't weaken enough. It kept coming, slow, unsteady, but unstoppable. And then, the final message auto-loaded. Not from the machine, not from the tape, but from somewhere else. A voice I recognized instantly. My own. A future version. Broken. Terrified. Whispering from inches away from death. "You can't outrun him." Static crackled. "You can't fight him." A gasp. "There's only one way to stop him." Silence. Then, "You have to kill the voice." The message ended. I froze. The shadow reached the bottom step, and behind me, at the exit door of the stairwell, stood the tape deck, sitting perfectly still on the floor, waiting, inviting. The answering machine buzzed one last time, whispering, "Destroy it!" The shadow lunged, The shadow lunged, its arms stretching too far, joints bending like wet branches, its fingers, my fingers, hooked toward my throat. I dove toward the tape deck. My shoulder smashed the floor, pain ricocheting up my spine, but I didn't stop. The shadow's claws scraped concrete inches behind me, screeching like metal dragged across bone. I grabbed the tape deck with both hands. It felt heavier than before. Colder. Alive. The shadow screeched silently, a soundless roar that still, somehow, rattled the air. It leapt from the stairs and crashed down the last 3 steps, landing on all fours like an animal that had just learned how to use a body. My body. It crawled toward me, faster than running, limbs spidered out at impossible angles. The answering machine in my bag vibrated against my hip, frantic, warning, "Break it now!" The shadow sprang. I swung the tape deck with everything I had, but before it made contact, before plastic shattered, the tape inside began playing by itself. Not a scream, not a warning, a calm voice. My mother's. "Sweetheart, don't." The shadow froze mid-lunge. So did I. The voice was soft, warm, careful. Not distorted, not layered. Real. Or close enough to real that my heart believed it. "You don't have to run anymore. You don't have to be afraid. Just talk to me." The shadow slowly rose to its feet, straightening, its body unfolding like a puppet pulled upright by invisible strings. Its eyes, copies of mine, softened. It reached toward me, not as a monster now, but as someone familiar, someone comforting, someone I wanted to hear. "Mom?" I whispered before I could stop myself. The shadow leaned closer, its mouth curved gently, but the tape cut in again, sharper this time. "Finish my sentence, sweetheart." My entire spine turned to ice. That wasn't my mother's voice. Not really. It was mimicking her perfectly, painfully, trying to make me say something back, trying to make me finish the sentence, because the moment I did, the connection would close, and I would disappear. The shadow whispered the second half of her sentence with my mother's voice. "And everything will be okay." My throat tightened, my lips trembled. It was so tempting, so believable, so familiar. Just 3 words, one tiny response. "Will be okay." My heart twisted, my eyes stung. I almost whispered it. Almost. Then the answering machine erupted in a blast of harsh, violent static, so loud I dropped the tape deck. The static wasn't random. It was speech buried inside a storm of noise. "Not her, not real, don't say it." The shadow shrieked, an ugly, warped howl, its face glitching violently, the mother illusion melting away, revealing its true shape underneath. A stretched mimicry of me. Skin like unrendered texture, eyes like static-filled screens, a face designed by errors. It lunged again. I didn't think. I didn't breathe. I just acted. I grabbed the tape deck and smashed it against the concrete. Plastic exploded. The cassette flew out. The machine's guts spilled across the floor. The shadow convulsed. Its body jerked sideways, then backward, limbs stuttering like frames skipping in a corrupted video file. The answering machine screamed, "Finish it!" I grabbed the cassette, the original tape, the first message, the message that started it all. The moment my fingers touched it, the shadow's head snapped toward me, eyes blazing white-hot like two overexposed camera flashes. It charged. I lifted the cassette above my head. It reached me, and I slammed the tape against the ground with every ounce of strength I had left. It shattered instantly. The reel unspooled across the floor in black ribbons, and the shadow stopped. Then it cracked. Literally cracked, like a pane of glass struck from the inside. 1 fracture, 2, 10. A web of breaking lines spread across its body. It reached toward me, not attacking, begging. Its mouth moved silently, glitching shapes that formed the outline of a word. No. The answering machine clicked. A final message played. A voice I had never heard. A voice not from yesterday, not from tomorrow, but from the present, from now. A voice of something ancient trapped inside the tape, finally fading. Connection severed. The shadow shattered, completely. It didn't burst into smoke or dissolve or vanish like a ghost. It broke apart, piece by piece, into drifting motes of gray, pixels disintegrating. Then it was gone. Just gone. The air stilled. The lights stopped flickering. The gym returned to its normal hum, and the answering machine fell silent for the first time since the nightmare began. I stood there shaking, surrounded by broken plastic, spilled tape, and the fading particles of something that had almost become me. I breathed. 1 breath, then another. Then, the answering machine clicked. Once. Softly. A new message. No timestamp, no origin. Just a single line. You stopped him, but the voice is never the only one listening. The machine powered off, and my phone buzzed in my pocket. A voicemail from tomorrow.